September, the date of the inauguration of the conference be proclaimed as International Literacy Day and be observed worldwide. And so on the 8th, we are commemorating International Literacy Day, but it's going to fall on a Sunday. And so, because of that, we here in Ghana are bringing ours forward. On Friday, we're going to be doing a lot of activities in relation to International Literacy Day. And I've got a lady and a gentleman in the studio to take us through that. We're going to talk about International Literacy Day. And so you need to draw closer to your radio sets. And of course, if you haven't joined us on our Facebook live stream yet, make sure that you do join us on our Facebook live stream because we're also streaming at Starr 1035 FM. In the studio with me this morning is Gloria Ame Mensah. She is Deputy Executive Director for Operations at the Complementary Education Agency under the Ghana Education Service. Gloria, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's great to have you in the studio. Also here is Mr. Philip Dare. He's Acting Director for the Complementary Education and Training Division. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And
let me state that we are not under Ghana Education Service. We are also an agency under the ministry.
Under the Ministry of Education. Okay, yes, that was my mistake. Under the Ministry of Education. Right, not under the Ghana Education Service. Thank you very much for that correction. So, I was given a brief history about World Literacy Day, but I mean, from your own words, what would you say that the World, or should I say the International Literacy Day is really about?
So, as you give the background, International Literacy Day is a day set up by UNESCO since 1965 to be celebrated across the world and in every country to discuss the progress made in countries, communities, and about individuals, talking about the relevance of education in the family, within the country, why we should always make efforts or interventions towards education or dedicate national budgets or make policies that reduce challenges in the education sector so that individuals and communities which are at disadvantage, particularly youth and adults as well as children in hard to reach communities, will be able to access education. The more we access education, it is believed that our performance in terms of the livelihood will change and the way we perceive the world and address solutions will be better compared to individuals who do not have enough education. So that is why it is important to celebrate the day. Thank you.
And so when we talk about literacy, what are we even talking about? I mean, to one, literacy would be, well, I've gone to school, I know how to read and write, and so that is literacy. I'm literate. Or it goes beyond that. When we say literacy, what are we talking about?
So, literacy simply means how to decode information. So, for instance, if we have a sign or an image there, how do you decode it to your understanding? So that is simply literacy. So, for instance, when you use the driver's or road signs, probably somebody hasn't even gone to school to read or write. But if the person is able to decode and understand these signs, that means probably the person has literacy in
that area. So being able to interpret things. Yes. Okay, so it means someone could have literacy in one area and have absolutely no literacy in another area.
Sure.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
So why then is being literate in some of these areas really important?
So, for instance, let's go to our communities.
Yes.
When we take farmers, they use chemicals in these farming activities. So when you take a bottle of or a container of this chemical, you should be able to read the directions or measure how you use these fertilizers or these chemicals effectively for you to gain profits in these farming activities. And our market to men, for instance, how do you get profits? You have to use these simple reading and writing skills to improve on the things or items that you are selling in the markets.
Right.
So to add to that, for those of us who have gone to school higher, ability to read and write and even interact with minimum technology is okay for us. But let's go to the area of a hairdresser. The combination, as director has stated, of chemicals to apply on the hair scalp, they have to be according to some quantities.
Yeah.
The individual's ability to do that is a factor that needs to be considered. Tailors, the measurement is a factor. The size of the individual they measure so that they get the standard dresses for them are all relevant, and even the pricing are all factors. And for that matter, some level of literacy is very much important for every individual to enable him or her cope with the challenges of life in his or her place of work or about general life.
So now we live in a country where there are many languages that are spoken. Many languages. I mean, I've lost count of the number of languages that are spoken. I mean, there is the English, which is accepted as the official language. People believe that when you speak good English, it means, you are literate and you have literacy everywhere. But then there is Kan, there is Ewe, there is Chi, there is Zema, there is Dagbani, there is Basari, there is Gurushi. There are all kinds of languages out there. So one would say that we live in a multilingual society, but there seemingly is a lack of multilingualism among a lot of people, isn't there? So what would you say are the negative implications of the lack of multilingualism?
Okay. So for, let's say I speak Ewe, you speak Asantichi. We should be able to respect one another's values and culture.
Right.
Perhaps even the languages we speak. That will bring the unity and peace amongst us. But if you don't value my language and culture and values, probably there will never be the kind of peace that we want, or we can't promote that peace for socioeconomic activities. No.
Right.
So you have to value I value yours to bring that social cohesion amongst these languages.
Okay, so to add to that, if we go back to our JSS lessons, where they say culture is a way a group of people live, the critical aspect of that way of life is language. And so language is something that identifies a group of people. So our ability to, let me say, tolerate the varied languages spoken in our respective communities or within the nation brings us together as common people. And the more we are able to tolerate people of different language speakers, the more peace that or unity and development we bring together. But if we see ourselves as separate entities because of speakers of different languages, then there will be that element of division within the society in which we live. And our togetherness to forge toward a common cause will be something difficult to come by.
So I guess as we are in an election year, multilingual education, I guess, is really important to contribute to the peace that we have in the country and sustaining that peace, right?
You are very right in that regard, because when we talk of election, it's something that brings different stakes, and sometimes even it connotes element of ethnicity in our Ghanaian political system. People of a particular language speakers have different perception about others. But if we call ourselves Ghanaians, then we are one people, one nation, and we have a common destiny. And for that matter, we want to talk about issues affecting us and addressing solutions in a common way. But if we live as individuals because of different language speakers, it becomes difficult when we are talking about this progress, this democracy that we want to pursue. because we may be looking at it from our myopic point of view, which may not utter well for generalized or overall development of the nation,
Right.
unless we look at it in a common direction that it affects all. A good election affects the result of a good election affects all, and if it goes bad, it affects us negatively.
Right.
So,
So,
to add to what he's saying, we have different political parties, and they've read their manifestos and other things that they would like to bring out. From my point of view, if you are able to have this kind of literacy, when they are bringing their policies, you can also bring your inputs to also help you in one way or the other. Because I feel like, no, this policy would help me. That is the direction I will vote, or that is the direction I will bring my inputs for it to help my well-being. So probably if you have this kind of literacy, you can bring your input into this formulation of policies. You can also, for your rights as a voter, you can also vote according to what this kind of policies bring to you as an individual, your community, and even the nation as large.
right. So for this year's celebration, or should I say commemoration, what is the theme for the International Literacy Day 2024, and the impact on our national and socio-economic development?
Okay, so the theme is promoting multilingual education. That is literacy for mutual understanding and peace. But for the CEA as an agency that leads Literacy Day in the country, we derived our theme from celebrating multilingual literacy through digitalization to promote peace.
Right.
So the reason why we chose this theme was, we know that, for instance, this is an election year. How can we even help our learners to know how to vote? Because most of the time, the sports ballot papers and these issues,
rejected ballots, all of those things,
it's mostly from the illiterates. So what can we do? Probably we all use phones, we all use digital tools. If you say digital tools, it's not like a IT structure or infrastructure.
I mean, the phones,
yes, the phone, the television. So how do we help these our illiterate mothers and or youth and adults? It's by just sending short messages to even help them to know how to vote.
Text message, WhatsApp, even videos.
Sure. And even for our mothers at the markets, and even we, the youth and adults, we need some kind of digital literacy in marketing. Because somebody could sit in their house and still market or still work through this digital means. So probably we are educating our learners on how to even use these simple money transactions and other financial transactions. So this is what we saw, and we are hoping to deliberate on, or to educate our learners in this digital space.
I guess this is all because we live in an era, a dispensation of ICT, right? So is that what is informing this, idea in the country-related theme?
Okay, so one, the multilingual element comes in the sense that there are different language speakers across the country. If you focus on children and their education, the child, in which language is he or she taught? We are supposed to be taught in our mother tongue so that we'll be able to understand the concept very well and later change into English and pick up from there. But many children in different communities are taught in another language which might not necessarily be their own mother tongue or their local language. So the theme on multilingualism is focusing on the need to use local language to support learning. Then again, it is important because the speaker of the language might be static somewhere, but we can use technology to transmit the information from one medium to the other, or from one location to the other, without the individual speaker necessarily moving from one location to the other. So all these elements of the choice of the language to educate the individual and emphasizing on a particular language which he or she speaks is another area. And then the digitization is emphasizing on the need to transmit the language through technology or technology-assisted materials or instruments, so that individuals, even though they are not presently located in a particular area, the information being shared in one area of the country can still reach them wherever they are.
So for this year, right, this year's celebration, how does it relate to the work of the contemporary, or should I say complementary education agency, right? How does, or what do you seek to achieve with this year's celebration, and how it relates to the work of the complementary education agency?
Okay, so the complementary education agency promotes and provide literacy delivery in 15 Ghanaian languages and English. So using these languages across the various communities to educate people. And now that we are moving into a technology era, it is important that instead of using only hard copy materials, we need to transfer this information into easily accessible instruments or gadgets from one area to the other,
right,
to a closer reach to individuals and communities to be able to understand literacy activities in their respective communities and homes.
So this year's celebration, right, it's taking place on Friday, even though World Literacy Day is on Sunday, but it's on Friday. Okay, so where will this year's celebration take place?
In Ashanti region.
Ashanti region.
Jachi precisely.
Jachi?
Yes.
The Ashanti region. That's where the education minister is from.
Yes.
Okay. And why that location?
So every year we choose a region to celebrate in. So last year we had it in Oti.
Okay.
So we came into a consensus that this year we are celebrating it in another region.
Okay.
So we chose that region because we've not celebrated.
You've not celebrated Literacy Day there yet. Okay. And so who is expected to be there? I know obviously the Minister for Education will be there. Of course, he cannot miss an opportunity not to go back to his hometown.
So you are expected to be there.
I'm expected to be there.
Everybody is expected to be there.
Okay.
Once we are all stakeholders in the education sector.
Yeah.
And particularly International Literacy Day is to emphasize the relevance of literacy or education for all of us. So once you have an interest in education issues, you are invited to be there, irrespective of your class or your status. Once you can come there.
Once you can come there, you are invited. So everybody's invited.
Everybody,
okay. We will all try to be there. So what will be your concluding remarks as we're wrapping this up?
All right, so I'll give it to
Okay. So you know that this literacy celebration is mostly because we want to highlight or emphasize on the importance of literacy.
Yes.
So what's my closing remarks is we should preach or we should advocate for literacy in all aspects of our Ghanaian languages. And we should be able to accept and respect each individual's language, irrespective of where we are coming from, and build that socioeconomic environment for Ghana's development and globally as well.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us in the studio for us to talk about International Literacy Day. So on Friday, Ashanti region, Jachi, that's where it's happening. So anyone who can be there should be there. Even if you can't be there, try and go and be there. It is very important that you are there. Gloria Ame Mensa is Deputy Executive Director of Operations. Thank you very much for joining us here in the studio. that is operations for the Complementary Education Agency,
Yeah.
right? And Mr. Philip Deh is the acting director, Complementary Education and Training Division of the Complementary Education Agency under the Ministry of Education. Right. Thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you
us
too.
in the studio.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.